Welcome to Get the Facts. This is the program that provides you with information on government's policies and initiatives. I'm Theodore Henry. The Registrar General's Department, RGD, is modernizing its operations to provide a more efficient service to customers and a productive environment for its staff. One era of the retooling involves shifting services to their online platform. And sharing more on this process is Chief Executive Officer Charlton McFarlane. Welcome to the program, Mr. McFarlane.
Thank you, Theodore.
All right, let's jump right into the facts. Now, I know we mentioned online, but I wanted to talk a bit more generally about the transformations that have happened at the RGD over the years.
Okay, then. Well, let's put it in some context.
Yes, please.
So the RGD was established officially in 1879.
That's how many years?
That's 143 years or thereabouts.
All right.
And clearly, we would have many of the technological platforms that we have now, obviously, would not have been around back then.
Right.
But the RGD would have worked assiduously to improve its business processes, strengthen along the way, right? And some of the critical improvements that are innovations that we would have looked at would have been where in the year 2001, I believe, we introduced our computer-generated certificate. And that now is what most Jamaicans refer to as the blue certificate.
Right.
And that would have replaced what most Jamaicans refer to as the black and white certificate.
I don't know that one
right?
at all.
You shouldn't. You're a young man, right? But one of the issues with the black and white certificate was that it was just a piece of paper that was written on in pen.
By hand.
Right?
Yes.
And as such, persons could go and, you adjust and you change a A to a O, you change a U to a E, and suddenly Hubert becomes Herbert. You know what I mean?
Less resilient to moisture as well. And
exactly, right, and stuff. So with the introduction of the computer-generated certificate, it introduced security paper, right, which is what our certificates are printed on now with specific features, specific standards.
Right.
Standards consistent with first world requirements, quite frankly, and stuff. So that would have reduced significantly our susceptibility to fraud. Right, and stuff. So we are very proud of that. Other achievements, other innovations rather, that we would have pursued would have been the introduction, I believe, in about 2006 or thereabouts, the online application tracking system, where we mirrored our product of the FedEx and the DHL of this world, right? Where once an application is generated, a tracking number is generated with it, and that tracking number follows the application process through from stage beginning to stage end.
Let me jump in here. I can see the obvious benefits for me, the consumer, but how did this assist in the working environment inside the RGD, this tracking system?
It had several benefits, because what it did was it allowed us to isolate each step of our business process. Right? And by isolating each step of our business process, we could zero in on where we were less efficient. Right? So, for example, if we realized that a record would have taken 3 or 4 days to be pulled from the vault, right, and with every other stage in the process, it was being done on time, then we know that an intervention in the vault would have been needed, right? So the information that it generated, the analytics that it generated for us also assisted us in becoming much more efficient at what we do.
I know you're a statistics man, so we can say that the process of doing business with the RGD has increased in speed and efficiency?
It has. It has. And another innovation that we would have had is to commence the digitization of our records.
Right.
No, this is a major one. So in 2014, we started with 12 computers in a small room.
Yes.
Where we began the process of scanning and indexing our paper records. Right. And so far, we are now at about 35% of our records being digitized.
Which is not surprising considering 100 and...
Exactly. Well, we have upwards of 7 million records in our repository.
You've been around for a while.
Exactly. But this process has now gotten a significant kickstart, again, through the National Identification Systems Project,
Right.
where just about a month ago, or thereabouts, the Prime Minister would have signed a massive deal to digitize on a large scale our records. And what does that mean now, Theodore? It means that when someone comes in to apply for a certificate, right, if that certificate is not already amongst what was already digitized, it would mean that it would have to go to the vault and we would have to do a manual search.
Right, right.
Now, when all the records are digitized, that manual search becomes a computer search, and that computer search becomes a search that will take a matter of seconds.
It's data at the fingertips.
Absolutely. You know, and so and that's what we're all about at the RGD. Really and truly, my job at the RGD is to provide is to create an agency rather that is highly efficient, and really and truly customers, when they come in, they can be in and out in a flash. Because we understand, I mean, our customers are busy. They don't want to stand in line at the RGD for the entire day, right? And we don't want them to stand in line at the RGD for the entire day.
Right.
We want them to be in and out in a flash.
Totally understood. And if I'm interpreting what you're saying correctly, most of your services are now online.
Yeah, a significant portion of our services are now online. And I'll tell you something. The RGD would have started years ago. Don't ask me exactly when.
That's right.
But where customers could apply for the birth certificate, the marriage and death certificate, those standard services.
Online.
Online,
Right.
This was, I said they don't quote, but I think it was around 2003, 2004, based on what I've read. Right. I was in school at that time, right? But beyond that, and especially with the onset of COVID, it forced us to increase exponentially the rate at which we, embrace this digital transformation. Right. And so since February 2020, incidentally the same time that I took up office as the CEO, we would have increased our online products and services by 130%. And we're very proud of that.
All right. The conversation is interesting, but we're going to have to take a break right now. This conversation continues on the other side of this break. You don't want to go anywhere. We're talking with Mr. McFarlane, the Chief Executive Officer of the RGD. Please stay with us.
Concerned about uncollected garbage at home? Do you see garbage piling up on the streets? Then report it. Use the National Solid Waste Management Authority's mobile app to report instances of littering, illegal dumping, and uncollected garbage. From anywhere and at any time, be an environment warden by informing the authority of unsightly solid waste. You will be notified when your report has been received by the NSWMA, as well as when the matter is resolved. Download the app from the iOS or Android app stores by typing in NSWMA. Play your part, as Jamaica's beauty is everybody's duty.
Welcome back to Get the Facts. We are continuing our conversation with Chief Executive Officer of the RGD, Charlton McFarlane, as we discuss the department's retooling to help the ease of doing business. Mr. McFarlane, before the break, we were talking about the services, many of which are now online.
Absolutely.
I want you to tell us what some of the services are.
Okay, then. So the services that we would have focused on to place online would be, along the lines of our core services. So in addition to just birth, death, and marriage applications, persons can now apply to correct an error online.
Hubert versus Herbert.
Exactly.
Right.
They can apply to add a name, because sometimes, a child was registered but not fully named.
Right. So maybe father wasn't there. Or,
precisely.
Okay.
Right. And they can also apply to add the father's particulars online.
Understood.
Right. And all of this really means that the forms are downloadable. So you go on our website, you download the forms, you fill them out, you have them notarized, and then you go back online and you upload those forms. Right. And after you upload those forms, you make your payment online. So everything is done online, unless there is a query with something not being, clearly indicated on the form.
Right.
Literally, the next call you'll get, or the only call you'll get from the RGD, besides the message confirming that the application was successfully submitted, is the call to come and pick up your documents, right? So, so we would have focus on our core services. However, we have also added additional online services. So right now, persons can apply for the adoption certificates online. That was added 2 months ago, the end of March, I believe, right?
New service.
New service. And also persons can do online searches. Now, how the online search works is that, again, leveraging the strength of our digitized database, right? There are persons who want to simply apply for a birth certificate, but in order to apply online for a birth certificate, they need the entry number, and they would have to request that entry number. Now they can search for the entry number online, and once that entry number corresponds to a digitized record, that search result is returned in real time.
So you literally mean database when you say database, connected information,
Precisely.
not just limited to one particular view.
Precisely, right? Another service that we added online is the issuance of our electronic burial order, right? Now, this was actually the very first of the new online services that I oversaw at the RGD, and it came in the time when COVID was right there, right? So the electronic burial order is essentially a process where a death occurs at the hospital, and the relative is not required to come in to the hospital.
To the RGD, right?
No, they are not required to come. Yeah, they are not required to come to the RGD to apply for the burial order.
I see.
Right? Essentially, the record is passed on from the medical records office at the hospital to our registration officers. And remember, this is another spin-off from the bedside registration, where our officers are physically at these institutions.
Understood.
Right? So the record goes directly to our staff. We generate the burial order, and we contact the customer, send them the reference number, and then that customer goes online, enters the necessary credentials, and the burial order pops up.
It sounds as if efficiency is a big deal for the RGD today.
I'm an economist, so that's always the focus.
So give me some statistics, some numbers here. What has been the take-up like?
All right, so I can tell you, our online services, especially post-COVID, has increased exponentially. As a matter of fact, the record updating services, which is just the general grouping for our correction of error, addition of fathers' particulars, those services have seen an almost 35% increase, or not increase rather, not increase, let me be very, very, very clear.
All right.
Shift in terms of in-house application versus online application. All right? So we have seen that 30% shift towards online. And it is something that's welcomed, extremely welcomed by persons who live outside of Jamaica.
Right, that has always been an issue.
Exactly.
Yes.
So I believe we would have provided the greatest benefit in this regard to those persons, because those persons would complain all the time. It would cost them additional money to make those applications, prior to having the online services.
That we're talking about persons outside Jamaica, but I've also heard this complaint from persons outside, places where the office is readily accessible.
Absolutely.
I need to journey here, I need to journey there. No, it's just on my phone.
And one last thing I'll say is just recently again, we would have, I'm happy to be able to speak about recent things.
Yes.
Just recently, we would have created an app now on our website where persons who want to get married at the RGD, because yes, Theodore, persons, we do have a registry wedding product.
Right.
Where persons come in, they want an efficient, low-cost wedding, they can apply online, as in set their appointment online. So literally, they book their appointment online, they upload the supporting documents, and they pay online, and all they need to do is come to the RGD, say their I do's, and go on to happily ever after.
Wait, they say I do's at the office?
When they get married.
I see. Now, I know we're focusing on your online services, but I just want to take this time to remind our viewers what are the core services, and perhaps services is not what I want to say, the core functions of the RGD. Why does the RGD exist?
The RGD exists to keep our vital records safe, right? The vital records really is, by definition, your birth, your marriage, your death, stillbirths, adoptions, right? We are working with the Supreme Court to see how we manage the divorce records as well, right? Because that is another vital record. So the RGD, we are the ones that collect it. We are supposed to collect it accurately and completely. And then we are the ones that keep it and maintain it, right? So we right now, we have, in terms of physical records, upwards of 7 million records dating back to the 1600s, right? We are pivoting now to have those records stored in digital format, right? So that would reduce the burden of having the physical space, right? Because by law, we have to keep the records in two forms, original and duplicates.
So if I can just jump in here, essentially, the keepers of the present and the past of the Jamaican people.
Absolutely.
But we're out of time, but I want you to take a moment and speak to our audience about the RGD, about what is available to them. Just 20 seconds or so. Speak to our audience.
All right. So again, the RGD, we are constantly trying to see how we can become more efficient and serve our customers. We are pivoting towards online services. And by doing so, you know, it would improve convenience for our customers. The RGD also believes that it is important that customers are able to communicate with us. And so now, today, more than at any other time in the past, there are more avenues through which persons can speak to an RGD agent. We have our social media handles on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook. We also have a YouTube channel. We have a live web chat. So you log on to our website, and the live web chat icon pops up, and you can engage with an RGD representative. We also have dedicated WhatsApp lines, and all of this complements our phone lines already. And of course, our info@rgd.gov.jm. We invite you to engage with us.
Thank you so much, Mr. McFarlane. We have been getting the facts on the RGD, on their online services, on the transformation that is happening in the Office of the Keepers of the Jamaican People's Identity. For more information on the products and the services of the Registrar General's Department, you can visit their website, rgd.gov.jm. Not just information, as you've heard in this conversation, you can do a lot of the business that you do with the RGD on that website. This has been Get the Facts. So our guest has been the Chief Executive Officer of the Registrar General's Department, Charlton McFarlane. Thank you for watching. Until next time, I'm Theodore Henry. Take good care.